Hi, good evening. It's nothing but the devil, but we doing it. So, good afternoon, good evening, good night to some of you all who are in different parts of the world. We are bringing today daddy issues. And I am going to speak about it because, when you start to get so much hindrance from the devil, you realize, huh?
Tú me dijiste que te invitaran, ¿dónde, pues?
Just a minute. Can you please log into my Heal Me, Healing You, and send me an invitation, please? Thank you. So when you start to get so much hindrance from the devil, you know that this is a topic that's going to bless some people tonight. Because daddy issue is a term that's been around for a long time. When you see any female with a older guy, or when you see a female that is very promiscuous and so on, you tend to joke around and say, "Oh, she has daddy issues." Actually, I study psychology and I study abnormal psychology, and there's nowhere on the terms, that mention anything called daddy issues. But what we have is attachment styles. So what happens when you have parents that not emotionally available? When you have a dad that he don't really know how to parent you. Let me teach you how to do it. Yes, now I'm trying to go live on my Heal Me, Healing You. But it was something in front of us, so my husband trying to help me, but he just don't know how. So I am doing it myself. Sorry about that, guys. So I am going to send a request to join the live. So yes, no, it has sound. Okay, we fix it. So obviously now it has sound, right? The devil is a liar. So okay, so what we have is attachment styles. And what happened when our caregiver really is not able to give us the parenting that we need? There are different type of there are different type of attachment styles, and if our caregiver is able to nurture us, if our caregiver is able to give us all the care that we need, we establish a secure attachment, meaning that we are able to connect with other people in a healthy way, that we are able to express our emotions, that we are able to express ourselves in a healthy way, and we are able to create connection and meaningful. So I will give you some characteristics of a secure attachment. So if, for example, your partner is stressed, right? Or your partner is having a bad day, or your partner is late for dinner, then a secure person will listen and will offer support and will be like, "Babe, I know that you had a hard day at work." Or if let us say that your partner snaps at you because he's having a bad day. He works at the at the social welfare office where I work, and he's there whole day listening to people telling them their issues. People not bringing their documents. People, it's a stressful environment. So that person comes home to you and they snap at you. If you develop a secure attachment with your primary giver, with your parents, then you will be like, babes, I know this is not about me, but I know that you had a hard day at work, and that is why you are behaving a little grumpy today. So what can I do for you? Can I give you a cup of tea? Can I rub your feet? And that is what a secure person will do. But what happened if you really didn't have a secure attachment, meaning that your parents were not emotionally available, meaning that your parents had they were alcoholics, drug addicts, or even if they sexually abuse you, that you will carry it into adulthood, meaning that when that is how you will be craving that type of attachment. We are memory. As human beings, we are memories. We create connections, and when we create a connection, we learn from that connection. And what happened? Everything that we do stems from that connection. What I mean, everything that we do stems from that connection. It means that even the relationship with your peers, the relationship with your girlfriend, the relationship with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, everything will come from that womb. And so we call it childhood wounds. And the first person to speak about it was Freud, in his theory of attachment, that he said that the girl fall in love with the father and so on, but people don't use those theories anymore. And obviously, because I am a Christian, I will give you another, I will give you spiritual meaning. So when you don't have a father in your life, you will tend to crave that relationship. You will crave that relationship that you would have had with your father. You will crave that relationship all through your life. And not only that, because you didn't have that, God created everything to be perfect. And a home had supposed to be established between a man and a woman to bring up a child. And when that does not happen, what happened with that child? That child is unprotected because the father is like this, like a house. So the father is the one who established the secure. He is the one that makes sure that the children are secure, because when a mother is a single mother, normally guys will run through the home and they will go with the girl, and if they don't have a father who really protect that child will be exposed, because the father is like a house. It's like a house. So when that house is not there, anybody could come and ransack those children, and they actually will not be able to have healthy attachment with anybody who comes along. I don't know if you understand. I pray that you can understand this, how I am feeling it. And the thing about it is, like, I will give you an example. The thing about it is that for me, how it happened for me, my father was absent. He was not really around when we were small. He left a few times. Not only that, he was an alcoholic, and he was not really a father that protected me. And what happened as I start growing up, I had insecure attachment with men. And how I show up, I had anxious attachment. And I had avoidant attachment. So when I was growing up, and the thing about it is that your attachment could change. Because when I was growing up, I had a problem establishing relationship with men. So I used to, like, if you come into my life and you do something minimal, then I will end the relationship, and they will be like, next. So I used to end the relationship. But what happened? One of my boyfriends died, and that made my attachment change. And I went from being avoidant to being an anxious attachment. So your attachment could change at times. So going back to the beginning, some of us female will be like, why I keep attracting a certain type of guys? But you're asking yourself the wrong question. What you need to be asking yourself, why am I attracted to a certain type of guys? So what you need to do now, you need to go back and see how your relationship with your parents was. And it's not only about females, because male have insecure attachments too. And they have the avoidant attachment, they have the anxious attachment, they have all type of the fearful avoidant attachment, this which they call disorganized attachment. Men experience it too, because men and all of us create our attachment styles from how we were brought up, because we learn from our environment. For example, if you grew up in an environment where your father was always cussing and saying bad words, for those of you who are not from the Caribbean, if you grew up with a father who was always violent, that you always had to tiptoe around him, and all his communication method was screaming and cussing and beating you, you are most likely to get a partner who will treat you the same way. Why? Because that is how he taught you to, that he care about you. That is how he show you what love was. So you will keep being attracted to that certain type of individual, and you will be like, why you will be like, you will see a female that she keep getting the same type of guys that beating her, guys that always tell the truth in her bad, guys that always shouting at her. And she will keep getting that same type of guys over and over and over. And you will realize, and you will be, but why she is always choosing that guy? You have to go back now and check what type of childhood she had. She had a childhood where her parents taught her that that was love. And that is what she craved, because we crave we crave normalcy. We crave what we're familiar to. And not because we're familiar to it, it means that it's good for you. But because you are accustomed to be treated like that, you will always go back to that type of relationship, not knowing that you're just recreating your environment when you were a child. And you're not happy. You don't know why you're choosing that guy, but you will stay because that is what you were accustomed to when you grew up. So it's very important for us to know what type of attachment we have. For me, I have daddy issues, right? Had, but you never stop having them, because what it is about healing, that you, it's not a destination where you get to and you be like relaxing on the beach with margaritas. No, what you do with healing is that you are aware, and when you see yourself going down certain road, then you will be like, I ain't going there. And you will recognize your trauma, and you will know that you will not go and be in love with a guy, because you will know that there's an attachment issue that you have and you need to break it off. And eventually it will become easier for you. So for me, I had an insecure attachment with my father. My father abandoned me when I was 10 years old. And I grew up every day looking at the door, waiting for this man to come in. Not only that, but when he was around, he used to beat my mother. He was very abusive. He was always cussing. He was an alcoholic, and he did the most. Thank God for Jesus. But he did it, and then I grew up being an insecure person. And what happened with my insecurities? I was so insecure that first of all, my outer appearance was very important to me because I didn't have any self-worth. And I am not saying by any way that ladies who look well and always take care of their appearance that they are traumatized, but I am telling you my story. I used to overcompensate. So what I used to do, I used to put on extra emphasis of how I look. And I was empty. I was hurting in the inside. I was so broken on the inside. But I am, and I went and do all those plastic surgery because yes, I did a few procedures just trying to look the part because I was empty inside. And not only that, I was telling a coworker, a colleague this afternoon, I was telling her that in my lifetime I have made a lot of money. But what happened with my money, I used to spend it because I used to overcompensate with food and with things and with shoes and with clothes because I was empty in the inside. I was craving relationship, but I didn't know how to achieve it because I had, and I was anxious. I had an anxious attachment. So my normally an anxious attachment is attracted to an avoidant attachment person. And that it comes very tricky because if you are attracted to an avoidant attachment person, it's like chasing a mice. So for a long time, I was very unhappy in my marriage. And I was blaming my husband for it because an avoidant person does not really care for intimacy. But an anxious person always clinging and looking for validation from the partner. So I used to be there. I used to be like, why you don't make me happy? I am unhappy. Why you don't make me happy? Why you not on top of me every day? Why you not kissing me? A whole day passed. How you haven't kissed me? How do you love me? And I was with like all that drama. Do you love me? Tell me that you love me. I still just do it. But now it does not hurt me because I know that it's me who crave this deep validation that I need him to validate me, to tell me how much I am worth it and how much he loved me. And I know that that cannot come from him because that love and that I needed, it was inside of me. I only will know what I like, how I like to be loved, and I make sure I love myself now. I know when I fix myself, it's no longer to put up a front or anything. No, I just look at myself in the mirror and I am able to look at myself in the mirror and I say, I love you, Yamine. So that was one of the things that you have to do. You have to find that love inside of you. If you realize that you have an insecure attachment, you have to really, really, really work on it. You have to look inside and you have to say, what's hurting me? Okay, my daddy and my mommy hurt me. And you have to go back and really heal that inner child. And now, and what I did, I researched because before I went and studied psychology, what I did, I used to say, why I am so angry? Why I am so, why I am attracted to older guys? Because my children's father is older people. I was attracted to older men. And I didn't know why. And then I realized, well, yes, I was looking for a father figure because my father failed me. So you know how that went because now I was with this older person who had more issues than me, and I went from one jail that was mine to somebody who jailed me because he was older than me, and obviously he had insecurities. So I really want you to check yourself. So if you have any of those characteristics, if you find that you are being that you afraid rejections, that you afraid abandonment, that you always seeking for reassurance and closeness, like over clinging, you need to really, really check what is going on inside of you. Because, and I will get a little churchy, because after I start to work on myself, I could not have done it without God. The Bible says that He make us wonderful and fearfully, that we are beautiful. And we need to find that inside of us. And when you find that love, that and you start to see the way, see yourself how God sees you, your life is going to totally transform. Because it happened to me. If you have seen me 10 years ago, you will not even recognize who this person is. And after I read in my Bible and talking to God, I start to realize that some pieces of me that I thought they were waste, that they were not good, that they were just so not able to come back together, they start to come together by the grace of God. So now, so that the one that I explained just now was the anxious attachment. Now let us talk about the avoidant attachment. So what are the characteristics of somebody who have an avoidant attachment? So the individual with an avoidant attachment style, they might appear to be independent. They have this word, nobody can tell me what to do. Kind of way. And you will see them that they claim that they don't need anybody. People, God made us to be, He said that no man shall be alone. And the thing about it is that anytime you feel that you don't need nobody, you have to really, really start to watch yourself and see, why are you saying that you don't need anyone? Anytime you isolating, because there are two types of isolation. God does isolate us when He is allowing us to grow. And you will know and you will feel in your heart that type of way, that you don't want to no longer go to the club, that you no longer want to be blind with certain individuals and not good for you. But you will know the difference. But one thing is wanted to isolate yourself, and the next one is that you don't want nobody around, that you saying you want to go and live in a mountain and you don't want to hear from nobody again. Please, that is a sign that you have a child wound that needs healing. There's nothing like you want to go and live in a mountain, and there's nothing healthy about that thought. Because we born to live in community. We born to have friends. That is how it was made, for us to get married, for us to have children and multiply. We were not created to be living alone and to be isolated and do that. We don't want to hear from anyone. Anytime you have that emotion, you have to start to check yourself. Some people may want to write about it. Some people go to therapy. Some people speak about it. But everybody is different. So you have to find what is your healing style, and you need to check it, because it eventually will grow up to keep you from greatness. It will trump, because I have seen even rich people with child wounds, and the only thing they have is money. That is why you see the other day somebody was saying, why this actor will commit suicide? He had everything. He had maybe a child wound that he didn't take care of. And that child won't grow up so big to be his entire will, and he could not find the way out. And it was going to anxiety, depression, anger. And when you realize, amen, when you realize that pain is so deep, in your heart, then you will start to mess up everything. You will realize you alone, that nobody wants to be around you, and that is when you have to know. Yes, because I am telling you from my personal experience. So okay, so if you have an avoidant attachment, then you struggle with intimacy. You appear to be distant, and you appear to be self-sufficient. How that look in a relationship? So you have a hard time sharing your feelings or depending on others or preferring to keep a certain level of emotional distance, and they may appear to be overwhelmed by others' needs and closeness. So I know somebody who is like this, and this person cannot even stand other people to touch them. Every time you go in and kiss them or hug them or show some kind of love, I have seen that that person will push away, you know, the love expression. So you will realize that that child, and even though that person claimed not to have any trauma because of the behavior, you could see that that person have an avoidant attachment issue. So when conflict arises, and I telling you all this for you to know, in case if you're in a relationship with somebody who is an avoidant, you will know that when a conflict arises, the avoidant person may avoid the discussion and will shut down emotionally, and it will prioritize going into their own space instead of resolving the issue. So it's not about you. The person is not running away from you. The person don't hate you. The person just don't know how to connect and how to communicate that the person is hurting. And that's all. The person is not and it's important for you to know what attachment style do you marry into, because so, but sometimes when you don't really know the type of attachment that you marry into, you will take things personal. Like for at the beginning, my husband have an avoidant attachment style as well. Sorry. And at first, I used to take it personal. I used to be like, "Why you rejecting me?" And I used to cry. I used to spend whole night crying, thinking that he don't want me. I may be fat. I may be ugly. Why he married me? He might be marrying me for his pay for the paper. And I used to make a whole movie, a whole movie about that. And he was not even aware that he was hurting me because he was just being himself. So it's important that if you marry into an avoidant relationship, you have to know that that person shutting down and moving away from you is his way or her way of dealing with the issue. So she actually or he actually care about you, and that is why he choose to move away. So there's another attachment style named fearful avoidance, which is a disorganized attachment. And the characteristic of this attachment is combined with anxiety of the anxious style and the avoidance tendency, which we have people who you can have mixed attachment styles. And people with this attachment style may crave closeness but also fear, leading to unpredictable and intense emotions. How this look in a relationship? At my experience, a push dynamic, feeling drawn to the partner yet scared to be hurt. And this can make the relationship feel chaotic with a partner of emotional highs and lows. So it might look like if you're couple, you married to somebody who is bipolar. And for example, a fearful avoidant person may break up with their partner impulsively due to a fear of rejection and only to regret it and seek reassurance, like calling me, sorry, baby, I didn't mean to break up with you. So I want you to understand with all this, I want you to understand your own patterns, and I want you to understand your couple patterns so that you will create a healthy and more balanced relationship. Okay, so I just want you to know that that there is healing, and it's possible to create real life dynamics with your couple. And like, you can identify your patterns in your past relationships because you could see it when you look back. You will realize, okay, well, I've been attracted to guys who always lash at me, or I am attracted to unavailable guys. So I always looking for married people. So when you go there and see a female that always going out with only married guys, it's not that she likes married men, she likes unavailable men. So that is an attachment style that she has, that she craves intimacy from people who are not available for her all the time. And what you have to do is that you have to understand to identify your patterns on your past relationships, and then you have to understand your attachment style. And that is what I did. And yes, there are so many people with relationship because the first step is to understand what is happening to you. How why are you attracted to somebody who is not really available, who is somebody who hurts you, who is somebody who always shouting at you? And you have to go back now and try to see which part in your childhood is causing you to choose that type of person. Because we choose, and we anything that you constantly in, you choose in it. So you have to work on building a self-worth and self-love. How you do that? How you work on yourself? You have to start to love who you are. And when I telling you self-love, you could go back to my episode from last week, Friday, and you can see that loving yourself is not adorning the the outside. Loving yourself is doing your meditations, having quiet time with yourself, and seeing what is your thought pattern, what are the things that be tormenting you. Because for me, when I was on my 30s, I was tormented. I could not sleep. And the night of I heard voices in my head that used to tell me all what I did wrong during the day. I used to say, "Oh, you'd really mess it up. Why you say that? Why you did that? Why?" I had all those voices just throwing at me all the things that I did, all the men that I sleep with, all the mistakes I made, and I was tormented. And you have to really listen to those voices so you could tell them stop, because you have the power to let the thoughts in, but you have the power to let the thoughts don't take root in your mind. And it's very important because that is when you start to love yourself, because your self-worth starts with what you think about you. Because let me tell you, the greatest enemy that we have is ourselves. We can really put down ourselves. We can really punish ourselves. We can really talk ourselves. And that is when you have to realize what are your thoughts pattern like. And that is how you have to learn to filter your thoughts, filter what you consume, what shows you watching, what who you listening to, what you're watching, and make a diet. You can cut out people and stop listening to those voices, and then you will start to love yourself. So you need to grow, and obviously, I don't know about you, but I don't know. I will not be who I am if I didn't have Jesus in my life. And that I know that He died on the cross for me to have life and to have it more abundantly. it have no price like that. Because every hero that you find in the Bible, they had a relationship with God. There was nobody in the Bible that ever accomplished great things without having God as the foundation. And yes, there are successful people who are not Christian, but ask them how they sleep. Yeah, so check that. So let us don't live a life of Instagram. We're looking at people that we don't know how they reach where they are and what are the nights like that they are tormented. So you have to challenge your inner beliefs. Because for some people, I know plenty people who could see clearly that they have traumas, and they will tell me, I am not traumatized. I have no traumas. So you have to really challenge all those strongholds that you take so long to build. And I will give you an example. Because of my trauma and I had an anxious attachment, I used to have a fear of rejection. And when somebody used to be like, Yamine, that painting is blue. And I will be like, no, that painting is green. And that person will be like, Yamine, that painting is blue. I will be like, I will feel like you rejected me, and I will feel like I can't talk to you again because you rejected me. And they were not rejecting me, they were only disagreeing with me. And that was a stronghold that break in me, that I used to think that people rejecting my idea was rejecting me as a human being. And most of us feel like that. We feel offended, we feel rejected. And if that is also an indication that you may have a trauma. Okay? So you have to challenge your inner belief, and you have to set boundaries and standards. For example, when I came out from all my abusive relationships, because I have a long list of abusive relationships, because my father used to beat my mother and used to beat us and used to cuss us and used to break up things. So I went, and all my relationships after leave my mother's house were like that. And it come a time I say I'm going to make a list. So after you are aware of what are your triggers and what are your triggers and what is your patterns, then you want to make a list, and you're going to make sure to leave all those things. Do you have to make sure that you leave all those things when you are seeking a relationship. So how you do it? You make a list and say, okay, I want somebody who is loving. I want somebody who is working. I want somebody who is caring. I want somebody who will do certain things for me, and you make that list and you visualize that relationship that you want, and then you're not going to go in no relationship that is not that. Simple. I say simple, but it's not. I should not say that. It's not simple. It's really hard to do, because you have to go against all these beliefs that you had your entire life. And you have to practically be a new person. And it took me many years to change and to realize that my happiness was my responsibility. It took me many years to realize that I married the husband that I choose, and that nobody imposed him on me but me. And I had to learn to be happy with my choices. And it was not a 2 or 3 days thing. It took many years before the idea settled in my heart, and I realized that I was in charge of my own happiness. So when you really have to make a list of what you want in a partner, and if you are already married, don't say healing you, tell you go and divorce the man. No. I telling you, understand in what relationship you are. So you will stop expecting, because it's your expectation that really hurts you. The expectation that you marry an avoidant person and then expecting flowers every Friday. It's not going to happen. And you will know that don't supposed to be crying all over the place because the man didn't bring you flowers, and the man don't even know why you're crying, and he just going to pull from you, go to the bar, and avoid you completely. And then, so Come on, let's do it. So then you have to surround yourself with positive influences because we have to really take care of what we intake in, what we listen to. So because they say from the fullness of your heart, your mouth speaks. So it's from the abundance, what you have in your heart, what you've been feeding yourself from day after day after day, that is exactly what you are going to put out. So let us surround ourselves with positive influences, especially on the bad days. Because what you do, misery likes company, and misery is going to uh, seek you, and you have to try to be like, not me and you today. So, and then you have to consider therapy or counseling. For some people, it does some work. For some people, it do work. Because some people don't like to remember the level of trauma, PTSD, or whatever that you might be suffering. Maybe reliving the situation over and over might not be good for you. But maybe you could talk, you could write it, you could journal, you could maybe practice exercise or yoga or whatever works for you. I don't believe in yoga because I'm a Christian, but I know I talking to a broad community, but I don't believe in that. I believe in prayer, fasting, and reading my Bible. That works for me. And so then one of the biggest things that you need to do is practice kindness with yourself. You need to learn to forgive yourself for choosing bad partners in the previous and the past. And now you have to give yourself permission to be happy. That is something I had to do. I had to forgive myself, and I had to say, okay, I mean, there's certain guys that I don't ever want in my life. And I point out what were the guys that I was never going to get myself involved with. And then that's it. Hold on to your decision. And the rest is history. I am a happy girl living a dream, and I am still married to the same person that I was unhappy with. But you know what? Now we have the best relationship because not only he started to change when I stopped to try, when I start to stop trying to smother him with my love. I love me, please love me. And now he is becoming my person without I forcing him to do it because I changed first. So change starts with you. You. Change starts with you. And let us stop putting the responsibility on other people to make us happy, to heal us, to care for us. And yes, we find a person to complete us, but let us don't put the pressure on the next person of fixing us because that is only your job, your job. Nobody can do that for you, even if the person try, because the person will try if the person really love you. And the thing about it is that you will have a relationship with two unhappy individuals. So that's it for today, guys. So I hope that that from tonight you will go and Google and see your symptoms and see what type of attachment style do you carry. And I will see you right here next week in another episode of Healing Friday. Love you guys. Thank you for sticking around.